So before we get into interviewing Dominique and finding out a bit more about hair pop, I just wanted to get to the end of the conversation surrounding the bullying video of the young girl in King's Standing. So what has happened with that now, I have been looking through the story and keeping a close eye on it, and some of the family members of the girl who was the victim have gotten in touch with a guy named Danny Tomo, who is basically like Tommy Robinson's understudy. He's like a far-right hate monger, I would call him. And they've gotten in touch with him because they believe that the incident that happened was a racist incident and that it isn't being classified as such. They feel that the mainstream media is kind of not highlighting the fact that it's a race-related incident. They also feel like they're making similarities between what happened with the bullying incident in King's Standing and what happened last year when there was a bullying incident with a young Syrian boy called Jamal, I think his name was, where he was waterboarded by some kids in a bullying incident at school. So Danny Tomo and the family of the victim are questioning why people aren't as outraged about what's happened to this young girl, and they're also wondering why the media, the mainstream media, isn't reporting it as a race crime. What are your thoughts on that, Dominique?
I think there's a lot of context that's missing in terms of what actually happened, why that incident happened in the first place. I don't necessarily think it is a race incident. It seems like a bullying incident with kids that shouldn't be behaving that way, behaving very disrespectfully. In terms of, all the people, those right-wing people that come out, I think any excuse for them to come out and compare, to racism, it's ridiculous, and I don't think that is the case in this instance. There's a lot of things online talking about how much Jamal received, and a lot of people get it mixed up with it being the government that gave him £150,000 when actually somebody started a GoFundMe page and he had that money. I'm not sure what it was for. So people are saying, well, why doesn't this girl, because she's a white girl, get the same thing? And is it something that we should be rewarding, or is it a case where we actually need to look at why these bullies were doing what they were doing and what support this young girl can actually get? That's really important, is making sure she is getting the support, because it was a really horrific attack.
It definitely was. But my issue with the turn that this story has taken is that there are people in the far right who are trying to use this incident to stoke and stir up racial tensions within the city, and I just can't get behind that. Like it's really bothered me when I was reading through all of the comments about this. And one of the things that people keep bringing up is the GoFundMe, like you said. And I think people are failing to realise that anybody can start a GoFundMe. If you're sitting at home and you feel that you'd like a GoFundMe to be created for the young girl, then you're well within your rights to do that. You can create it, you can donate to it, and that's all fine. But I don't see why you would be kind of condemning people for donating to another child who was also a victim of something. You can't, it's kind of victimizing the child all over again, because why is what happened to him not legitimate enough for him to be able to receive this GoFundMe? And at the same time, there's enough out there for people to set up another GoFundMe for this girl, although there is actually a GoFundMe because I found it, and they were asking for £500 and they've reached their target of £500. So a lot of the time people are complaining that there isn't a GoFundMe. There is already one and people are already donating to it. So that's an issue that's basically just a non-issue to me. And I think turning it into a race issue is just bringing unnecessary problems to the family, because people are going to be looking at you differently because you've chosen to involve the far right into this incident, which was just a bullying incident. So now it's kind of, are you helping the child by doing this, or is it in a way making it worse for her? Because people may be looking at her and the family as though they're kind of condoning a lot of the things that the far right promote and do. So I don't know if it was the best idea to do that. But Danny Tomo will be visiting Birmingham on Monday to speak to the family. Yeah, so I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens when he comes. Apparently he's going to be going live and doing a live video with them. So we'll just have to watch that and see where that goes. But one of the other things that was bothering me about the story is the language that's being used to describe the children that were bullying the girl. So the amount of times I've seen the word animal and savages over the past few days in relation to this story, it's been really quite disheartening, and it showed me a side of Birmingham that I probably would have preferred not to see. So I think, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But I personally wouldn't classify it as a race incident. I would say that it is a bullying incident and that it should be handled as such.
I would definitely agree. And I mean, I don't know what the kind of political views of the parents or the family are, but King's Landing has got a bad reputation for being a very racist area. So
yes,
maybe the reasons for the family reaching out to that particular person is because that's the sort of political views that they do have. And also we need to remember that if that was our child or a member of our family, we would be really, really angry, and we'd want to do as much as possible to make sure that the people that were doing the bullying were punished, and maybe this is their way of going to the extremes. And from what I understand, the school hasn't given a statement and not much has happened. So you can also imagine the frustration from the family when it looks as if nothing much has happened. And some of the comments were saying, you know, that they just got put in isolation.
yeah,
Maybe I don't think isolation is enough for the children that have been identified, because there is no reason to be acting that way. But again, as you said, it's the language, and we also need to remember that these are young people. So to vilify them and call them animals and savages is, especially when you're an adult, it's ridiculous, because this does happen. It's not right, but it does actually happen. So for adults, grown people, to be describing people like young people like that, rather than actually thinking about the solution, it goes to show what type of people they are as well.
definitely. And that is the thing, because what the children did was wrong. Like, there is no way we can sit here and justify the violence that took place. But then the way in which the adults have decided to handle the situation and the online commentary that's been surrounding it, it's just kind of taken it into an avenue where I feel it didn't really need to go. Which kind of leads me on to another one of my bugbears, which is internet comment sections in general. Like, I find them so offensive. There's the amount of times I've been reading a Birmingham Live story about the most innocuous, regular, it could be a story about a farm, and then just underneath there you'll just find hundreds of people saying the most horrible things. And I genuinely feel that some of these outlets need to be held responsible for, not responsible for the comment, but they should be responsible for removing comments and kind of monitoring what people are saying underneath the things that they've posted. What do you think?
I think certain companies encourage that type of behaviour, which is why they're there, because you will find certain outlets that don't allow comments, but it seems like the negative comments are really being filtered through, whereas there's probably lots of other comments that aren't. But I think it's quite ridiculous. But then we have to look at the types of backgrounds that some of these outlets like Birmingham Live, Daily Mail, those sorts of, it's not something that is surprising. It's disappointing. But then you get a lot of people that are sitting behind their computers and are making comments that they will probably never make in public.
Exactly. That's what bugs me the most, because a lot of the time the people saying these things would never dream of saying it to the person's face. They would never say it, but because you're behind a keyboard, people become emboldened and feel brave, and like they can just say anything they want. And I think that we kind of need to monitor ourselves. Like, people need to start looking at themselves and what they're putting out there, and how that could be detrimental or how it could affect the people who are reading it. How do you deal with things like that with hair pop? Have you ever experienced anything, negative comments or things that other people may read and find distasteful? Do you monitor your comment sections?
Luckily, at the moment, we haven't had anything like that. And in terms of how I would deal with it, this is conversations that I kind of have in groups, and some people of the opinion just remove them, and some people just respond to them in an eloquent way. So I haven't had to deal with that at the moment. If it was totally negative and inappropriate, I probably would actually remove them.
Yeah.
However, if it was someone that had a bad customer experience, then I would try and do my best to make that a better